Hey, what's going on, Xavier?
Hey, what's up? So this is it. This is the live.
Yep, very first Tiger Talk. Just getting everything situated here. Got my wine, got my smokes, ready to go.
Yes, and I got the Hennessy Black. So yeah, I'm gonna be sipping on a little something. It's gonna be a little interesting night, to say the least. So what is the topics? What did the polls came to agreement on?
Well, the voting looks like you're in favor for apology and forgiveness as the meat of the conversation. I am going to post the syllabus here in the comments, and I'll just pin it for anybody to kind of see. And I see you've added a few things. Cool. Yeah, so, when people start coming in, we'll just kind of go over what the one good reason is, what we're all about, what's the point of all of this, right? And then I also want to talk about worldview calibration, kind of what does that mean as a definition? Like, what exactly are you doing when you're calibrating worldviews? Then I kind of want to lightly touch on like a social suggestion. That's going to be something that's, taken for granted every day that maybe even you do. I don't know personally. Maybe you do it. Maybe I do it. Everybody does it. And it's like kind of a step back and say, hey, maybe we have a suggestion on how to do this a little bit better.
Right.
And that'll be kind of interesting to see who all does it, who's guilty, right, of doing it. And then who's actually going to change. Once we actually talk about it and you say, wait a minute, this kind of does seem a little silly. Maybe I'll stop doing this. Who's actually going to apply that to their life, basically? Kind of touch on those things. Then we'll jump right into apology and forgiveness. Who has any questions or comments about it or anything that they'd like to discuss? And then just before I clock out here, we'll leave you with a thought experiment. So,
okay.
You and I already talked about the thought experiment in our interview for apology and forgiveness. So it'll be interesting to see how other people would respond to that. But yeah, right now we're just kind of waiting for people to join.
So this is your first time doing the FaceTime live. So what's going to be so different between this, platform versus your recorded interviews per se?
Well, number one, do you see a fucking tie? I'm not wearing a fucking tie on this shit, right?
No, I don't see a tie.
This is gonna be raw and fucking direct. Okay, it's gonna be to the point. I'm gonna try to answer people's questions as bluntly as I can, but at the same time, in a respectful way if I can. But we're gonna try to get to the heart of the issues. So that's really the big difference. It's kind of a Jekyll and Hyde, if you want to say. These are going to be short bursts of information. People that can't sit there and watch an hour and a half interview that gets really, really deep. So some of this stuff's going to be very surface level. If people want to get into a thorough discussion on it, then they can look up any of the interviews I did with those people that spent their time to speak with me, like yourself. But this is just going to be raw, short, sweet, to the point.
Cool.
So how are you doing, man? How's everything going over there?
Pretty okay. Of course, we both had the storm, but you're more on the south side of Orlando, so I'm more northern side. So I didn't even lose any power.
Oh, nice.
To say the truth. So that was nice. I just had Netflix on watching Family Guy. While there's like a storm and wind and debris flying everywhere. It did flood a little bit over here. Just a little bit, but it wasn't that bad. So yeah, it's pretty much just chilling on a Friday night, which is very actually a little bit different from my norm, because Friday night I'm going out, having a drink or two. But this is nice, staying in and talk about real shit. Yeah. So I like real shit that people should talk about, and discuss, because it's only to better our humanity, really. What you sipping on?
Man, I don't even know. It's some red wine shit. It's my wife's. It's kind of fucked up because I bought her the wine, and because of the hurricane and shit, you know, I have a bunch of soup and bread and all this type of garbage and stuff.
And
But
wine.
then, and wine, right? So
Yeah.
I don't have any more booze. I drank all my booze. I kind of snuck a little bit of her wine. She has a couple. She has a couple bottles. This is the better of the bottles that she has. So she's probably gonna notice, but I'll have to take those spankings afterwards, right? I'm hungry. There's cookies in the jar, you know. but hold on one second. Trying to get the hang of this.
What you doing?
This is okay. I see. There's like little, you know, you ever play like a video game and like you go by a door and like a little instruction, a little helpful hint will come up and it'll say, turn the knob to walk through the doorway.
Right.
And you're like, you know what I mean? Like some stuff's like super obvious. Like right now it says Xavier Hayes is viewing and speaking with you right now.
Yeah.
And I thought it was something that you typed to me. And
I did type something. I typed in my Instagram.
Oh, I see that. Yeah, but then below that, it's like Xavier Hayes is viewing your video now. Tap to invite him to join your video as a guest. It's like it's already happening, dummy. You know.
I guess they got to work out the kinks of this. But I did when I first saw this. I said that's a great idea because you can do like your own like FaceTime Live, you know, with and what it's also doing too is alerting all my Facebook friends.
Mm-hmm.
I see that my old manager joined. I guess she left though. But when I worked at an old folks home, Jewel Mango Davis, she joined. I guess she just left though. But it's tagging all of my Facebook friends. So it's not only tagging alerting everybody from the One Good Reason, but also my people. So it'll be an interesting, diverse group of bunch of people.
I mean, I didn't know how long to make this. I did make it 30 minutes. We're about 9:08 into it. So, you know, if it ends up being it's just you and I talking, then I mean that's what it's going to be. So let's just go ahead and get started. It's being recorded anyway, so I can just post it in case you know people aren't aware that it is going to be 30 minutes. So yeah, let me just let's go ahead and jump right into it and just kind of give people an idea of what the fuck it is that we're doing with the One Good Reason.
Yeah.
Let me start off by saying the One Good Reason is solely based on epistemology, right? The study of knowledge. How do we determine what is true? How do we know that we know? Okay. So if you're talking about anything in particular, if someone says, hey, there's a pack of crayons under this hat, and you say, you know, I don't think that there are a pack of crayons under the hat, and they say, oh, well, can you prove that there aren't crayons under the hat? That's not how it works, right? The burden of proof is on the person that is making the claim. So they would have to either lift the hat and show you the crayons, right? And or not just the box, but remove the crayons. You know, things like this. They'd have to give you the evidence, something to support what they're saying. If they tell you that they saw their friend put the crayons under there before the other person came over, that's not good enough, right? To convince that person, it needs to be stronger than just he said, she said, or just trust me, the crayons are usually under hats, so there's a hat, there's probably, right? The One Good Reason is focused on challenging what somebody says, giving us one good reason, good being bold, underlined, and italicized, to think like you. That's what it is that we're doing. And if we have a discussion about it and you don't have a good reason, hopefully you'll agree that you should change the way that you view that and pivot and maybe continue investigating and think differently. Now, the other thing I wanted to touch on is worldview calibration. That's basically what it is that we're going to be doing here is taking worldviews, right? You think red is a good color, right? Or let's say you think purple is a good color and I think white is a good color on a t-shirt. And, you know, you're giving me all your reasons why purple is great and I'm giving you all my reasons why white is great on a t-shirt. And that's an argument, right?
Yeah.
We want to have discourse where we both have our own points, but we want to poke at the weak parts of those arguments. And if we can start like Jenga, removing the weak parts of their arguments, removing the weak parts of my arguments, we'll slowly find that middle ground. And in a sense, we're calibrating our thoughts. We're saying, okay, maybe I'm a little too harsh on purple. You made a good, point there. I am being a little, you know, extra with my view on white t-shirts, And I agree that me just wearing white t-shirts all my life doesn't necessarily mean it's a good argument that white t-shirts are good. Maybe I haven't tried other shirts. And, so after, this is going to take some time, maybe, 30 minutes on something as simple as I think white's good and you think purple is good, right? We're calibrating our worldviews. And I just use t-shirts as a quick thing.
Yeah.
So now that we got that kind of out of the way, I did want to ask you, to kind of give your experience with the One Good Reason, and any worldview calibration tips or history that you've had.
Yeah, being that, what am I? I'm the president or the vice president, or what title am I of this? I forgot.
You are the superior. You're the omni.
Yeah.
Or the right hand.
Well, when you approached me about this, of course, I thought it was a brilliant idea, and of course, I just wanted to be a support of this movement that you're doing. I really like the idea of this, and I would say that to me, the one good reason is pretty much what you said. I mean, but to add on to it, I'd say that it's really to just challenge people's beliefs and make them just ask questions. Don't just assume and just accept any answer that people give you. For years, that's how I lived my life. And I think it's naturally that people does that, from birth, being raised from your parents, you have no choice per se, because you need your parents, for knowledge and to grow and to learn about this scary world that we live in. So being that, from a child, you're conditioned to just believe and to accept everything, as the truth at first thought. And I think as adults, we have to kind of unlearn from those bad habits and really just be skeptical, to have a healthy skeptical mindset, and to really just challenge anything and everything, and just say why are we doing this? Why do we say God bless you when we sneeze? For years I didn't know why. I guess it's a nice thing to say, but who started that? Why did that start? Different little things like that. So just to be, skeptical about everything. And I think that's what the One Good Reason really truly is about. For me, as my role here, I don't really try to be anything of a. I contribute a little bit, I say, but not so much of a big contributor, because I really don't want to get in the way of truly of your vision of what it should be. I think we under the same accord and want the same results, obviously, but I don't want to be cast a shadow or anything like that. So I'm here, and of course people can always come to me and ask me questions, and you can follow my Instagram, Xavier31_, and also my YouTube, Xavier3121, that's 3121, and also my Facebook page, Xavier3121 as well.
Plug them away.
Just a little plug here and there, which I'm going to revamp my Instagram page and my YouTube page. I'm going to add a little bit more stuff than just music, but I'm working out the kinks. But
but that's a good thing that you touched on with the sneezing thing.
Yes.
As far as I wanted to talk about kind of like social suggestions, and I think that's one we could talk on just really briefly on this Tiger Talk. When I'm at work, if I sneeze, it's this whole room full of people having this knee-jerk reaction to say bless you, right? And
right.
It's like it's a taboo. If they were to sneeze and I'm the only one in the room and they look and I don't say anything, it's like I didn't hold the door open for them and I knew they were right behind me and I'm an asshole now, or I'm being rude or something. So you know, here's social suggestion number one. When I sneeze, when you're saying bless you to me, right? If I said to you, hey, that was a strong sneeze. It was pretty strong. I don't know if you know, but I let out a fart at the same time. So I'm gonna need two dose blesses for both of those explosions, right? And they're gonna look at me like, what? I'm not giving you a second blessing, right? And I'll say, well, if I burp, cough, hiccup, you're not blessing me for those things. How about I take all of the burden off of you and, allow me to be responsible and accountable for my own bodily function. Allow me to apologize, right? Excuse me for spewing my germs across the room. I mean, some people get embarrassed about these types of things. If I'm talking to you real close and I sneeze in your face, I don't expect you to say, bless you, nigga. Like, you're not going to say that. You're going to say, that's disgusting. But you're not gonna turn and look at me from across the room and call me disgusting, right?
Right.
Let me say, excuse me. Give me a chance to be responsible for my own bodily function. If I start peeing on the floor in the office, you're not gonna say bless you. You're gonna say, what are you doing? That's nasty.
It's nasty.
Allow me to excuse myself. That's it. And if you find yourself feeling pressured to say bless you when someone sneezes, I mean, give that person an opportunity to excuse themselves.
But and you know what too, also to add on to that, for me, I like to dig back of why we do things. For me, it was like, why? Who started this? Well, bless you. What was the origins of that came from? From the first one was a caveman, and they sneezed and they got scared and they say bless you. Like, who started that? What is the reason? What does that even mean?
It's a pagan philosophy. The idea there's
pagan philosophy.
There are two versions of this, but the main one is that if you didn't say bless you, someone's soul would leave their body. Yeah. So it was the timing. You had to be fast. You have to be fast. You have to act quick. If you were to sneeze and I took too long, you could drop dead and your body would be lifeless and your soul would be sucked out into the cosmos. So if good friends don't let friends sneeze without blessing them, right? So
right.
It's like I have to take the car keys from you if you drank too much, right? If otherwise I'm a bad friend. So if you sneeze, it's like, oh, I have to bless that dude. Otherwise, it's my fault that he died.
Yeah.
But this is obviously not true, but we still do it. And when you ask somebody, why do you do that? They almost get defensive and they'll be like, well, it's just a good thing. It's just manners. It's how I was raised, So when you think about it, catch yourself. Say, well, I wouldn't do this if they farted. No. If you were raised to do it, if people farted, you would. That's the difference. And that's what I want to communicate. So that's a social suggestion. Tiger Talk number one. Of course, we have others, but the sneezing thing is a biggie.
Everybody does it all the time, and nobody really think about it and know why they actually do that. And I mean, it's just a bodily, function that just occurred. So, but they don't do it if you fart or you burp or anything. That's disgusting. Oh, where's your manners? Oh, but you don't have any manners if you just say bless you or God bless you. If you sneeze. And to me, I mean, I don't want to call it a tradition, but it's almost like it's expected of you to do that. And so, but it really, I feel like it's just a silly, I don't say it. And I know that you do the same thing. You say, excuse me. So, if I sneeze, I say, excuse me, because it is, in my opinion, offensive, to, have any type of bodily function. It's disgusting. It's honestly disgusting. All your saliva and mucus and shit all flying through the air, and you're affecting everybody around. It's disgusting. You should say excuse me, because that's to me is more disgusting than farting. I mean, farting, yes, the smell, but there's been studies that say that if inhaling other people's farts will prolong your life. So who knew?
And it helps with dementia, right?
Yeah, who knew?
But so here thought experiment.
They should say
thought experiment.
Bless you when you fart.
Well, yeah. So no, you're right. So here's a thought experiment. you know, you could try one of two things. Okay, the next time you go to work, it's all in good fun. But if you can either go to work and fake sneeze, get your Academy Award on this now. Don't half it. Okay, don't half-ass the shit. Fake sneeze, get your Academy Award. Okay, and see how many people bless you.
Yeah.
Or, if you want, burp or fart. You hold that till your lunch break. Oh, now coffee. Ooh, listen, let it out.
Yeah, let it rip.
And then point the finger at people and say, no one said bless you? And make people feel awkward. Make people think about it,
Mm-hmm.
Or if you really want to do it, see how many bless yous you get when you sneeze on an elevator. No, no, but so anyway, let's get right into kind of like for you and I, it isn't nobody's in here as of yet. But let's for you and me to be kind of like a rehashing of and forgiveness. So I got to ask you some hard questions on apology.
Oh, that interview.
Yes.
Interview.
And I know you. It was real. Do you want to put the shoe on the other foot and direct any of those questions at me? Do you have any questions you'd like me to answer? I know we haven't really gotten a chance to do this. I think this would be interesting. But you got about 8 minutes.
8 minutes. Oh, okay. You have 8. Okay. So apology and forgiveness. So I believe, just to recap, I guess what I said, what did I say? But
apology isn't necessary for you, but if you were the one that offended somebody else, of course you want to apologize.
Oh yeah. I remember now. Yes. So yeah, because that's the way that I see it. But at the end of the day, it is necessary. Ultimately, it is necessary then, because if at the end of the day I'm still expecting or to give an apology, or I'm expecting to be apologetic, I guess, to other people.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm assuming that they're expecting an apology of me.
Yes. So
it's kind of contradicted everything that I said. So looking back at that, I really actually I pivot now actually of my response to that a little bit.
Okay. Interesting.
I feel like at the end of the day, apologies. So saying that is not necessary to me is a bunch of bullshit. I mean, it is necessary.
Okay.
It is necessary ultimately at the end of the day.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it. But you, what is your views about apology?
I was like, yes, please keep talking so I don't have to answer. No, for me, man, all joking aside, apology. Okay, so if I'm offended, right, or not offended, if somebody does harm to me or does a wrong, and if it's shown to that person that it was wrong, or maybe they were ignorant to it being wrong, whatever, I'm going to bring it to their attention. I'm going to explain it how it's wrong, and I'm going to make sure that they understand where I'm coming from. And at the end of that conversation, that person either has sound character or they have a character flaw if they're not able to bring themselves to an apology. A lot of people will dance around it and say, oh, okay, I see where you're coming from. I won't do that again. Okay, that's fine. But I want the other piece. That's, I want the apology. I want, and then that's hard for people to do. I know that. It's hard for people to do. Nobody wakes up and says, oh, today I'm going to apologize for a fuck up. No one wants to think like that. But it's not enough for you to say, oh, I see where you're coming from. I shouldn't have drank all that in the back of your car and threw up all over the place. I won't do that again. Okay, I believe you. You won't do it again. I mean, but are you sorry that you did it? Are you a sociopath? Do you have any empathy or sympathy for other people's well-being? Are you able to bring yourself to being sincere in your sorrow for doing wrong to somebody else? That's really big. And on a person-to-person basis, when I talk to people, when I mess up, I need to be convinced that I messed up. I don't just dole out apologies to people. Okay, otherwise it's watering down.
It's just words.
Right, it's just words.
I'm sorry.
I don't I don't dole out apologies to make people feel better. I don't do that. You have to convince me successfully what I did was wrong. And if I'm not convinced, and I think that you're just not liking what happened, like I'm just gonna make up an example. Let's make up something. I like to do that, right? Just kind of a thought experiment. I go to a club, right? I'm saying I'm single or something. I go to the club, and there's some girl, and she wants to start dancing with me, and she starts making out with me, and we're drinking or something like this or whatever. And some guy comes up, right? You come up, and you're like, hey, right? I'm just for example, right? So somebody comes up, right? Because your date would be a guy, right? I know. I'm sorry. So, but let's just say somebody comes up, they would be like, hey, that's my girl, right?
Yeah.
You should apologize for dancing with my girl. And I would say, whoa, hold on. It's not like she's wearing a T-shirt that says "My guy's in the restroom." Yeah. You want me to apologize for something that I didn't do wrong.
Right.
I know now.
You didn't have the intentions to do any wrong.
Right. Well, there's accident and then there's intentional, right? Yeah. This would be considered an accident, but the simple fact that she came up to me. Mm-hmm. Makes it different. If she was standing there by herself and I walked up on her and started dancing on her and then you came up and said, hey, that's my girl, I'm going to apologize because I initiated. It's different. And you have to be able to find those differences. That person's not going to get me to apologize all day, every day. They're not going to be able to convince me. It takes two to tango. You understand? That's my view on apology. Yeah, I think it's a good thing when it's warranted. When it really does need to happen, I think it is good for both people. You either have a sound character or it's a character flaw, like I said. And if you ever find yourself in a position where somebody's asking you to apologize, have they convinced you that an apology is needed? Now, if they give you really good reasons and you're still shaking your head, I mean, you might have to think about your own character flaw if you can bring yourself to apologize. Think about the last time that you ever had to apologize. Was it today? Was it yesterday? A month ago? When's the last time you apologized to somebody? Well,
me?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying in general. But yeah, as far as forgiveness, if I can do it in 60 seconds, forgiveness, I think I have to take a page from your book. I did have a different view on it, to be honest, before I spoke with you on it. My view was, what do I gain by forgiving somebody of a thing they did wrong? They keyed my car and they called me a coconut or an Oreo baby or whatever they called me. And it's like, what do I get in forgiving them if they apologize? It's like, okay, you feel sorry about it and you're crying and you feel bad about yourself and you've recognized your character flaw and you're trying to improve it. But why do I need to do anything? Like, you go deal with it. That's how I used to look at it. Like, it was, for me to forgive somebody was kind of like, I'm allowing you to hang around and you're basically going to be a time bomb to do it again.
Yeah.
But after I spoke with you in your interview, I came to the conclusion that, yeah, you were 100% spot on. My argument wasn't very good. And it is a good way to relieve negative energy, because every time I would see that person, I would be like, oh, that's that fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it would just spark that, they can never rise above this. They're branded as a fuck up in my life, and I might go talk shit about it and then get other people to be on my side. And, every time guy, that's the guy that called him an Oreo baby. And, and I can't, do that, for a while I started forgiving people, and maybe they don't even know I forgave them. Yeah. But I kind of took a page out of your book, and it has given me a lot of solace and comfort, and it's a good feeling, it's like, okay, I don't need to do it, but when I look at like the negativity that I was kind of harboring and it was allowing to fester, some of that might even come out on other people, if it has no place to go. So it's like,
because honestly, for me, that's what was happening. I noticed that I was taking out, my frustration on other people because I was still upset for what they had done to me. And so for me, it was just, I would often, and I still do this to today, I forgive the person before they even ask for an apology.
Or
And
for the offer
it's
apology.
really, yeah, for the offer an apology, because I feel that it's more of a selfish thing. I need to have a closure to this chapter or to this story. So in my mind, I just write it off like, okay, so this happened. I'm not going to allow this happen again, but I'm going to forgive this person and I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on with my life, and I'm not going to allow them. Another thing too, I'm not sure if I spoke about this, but I got to rewatch that interview. But I think I know for sure that when I forgive a person, I don't allow that to forgiveness. I guess what I'm trying to say, forgiveness doesn't mean acceptance of the person to continue on to be around you. Like okay, I'm sorry, my thoughts is everywhere. I guess it's the Hennessy. I can't get my thoughts together. What I'm trying to say is that just because you forgive a person doesn't mean that you have to be friends with them. Doesn't mean you have to associate with them.
Right.
That you have to. I can forgive a person and never speak to them again. Doesn't mean I hate them. It doesn't mean I'm protecting myself because I'm not allowing them to come back in and to harm me again because they lost that trust. You know, trust is credit for me. And if you lose any, screw up on your credit on a bill and your credit score is ruined for 4 years, I don't know. And that's how I view trust, with people. Everybody have this credit of trust, that allowed, and if they screw it up, they have to rebuild that up again. But depending upon the scenario, I might not even allow them. Yes, I forgive them. And if I see them in a restaurant, I'll say hello. If they're, broke down in the middle of the road, I will stop my car. I will help them. But that doesn't mean I will welcome them into my home and we'll break bread and drink wine. I'm not doing that.
They wouldn't have a second opportunity to.
Depend on the scenario. I'm not so cruel, but it depends on the scenario. But yes, I mean, I screw up all the time, in different things. Yeah. I'm not right. I'm not, holy. I'm just Xavier. So, I would want a second chance. It depends on the scenario of what's going on and the situation. Mm-hmm. I would want a second chance,
And to be honest, people being aware of the forgiveness that was granted from mm-hmm. the injured party makes a world of difference for a lot of people. Some people aren't able to function. Mm-hmm. They're not able to function. They're depressed. They might not even know you. They ran over your child and your child died, and you don't forgive them. They're, mm-hmm. So I understand there's a lot of power behind that, and there's a lot of people I haven't forgiven. I mean, in person, like they're not aware that I've forgiven them.
Right.
So that's another thing, I can privately sit here in my bed and be like, oh, I forgive these 200 people, in my life or whatever. And they don't know that, and they're carrying some kind of guilt around, maybe looking to seek me out and apologize again, So that's something that I'm trying to work on, is nipping that in the bud as soon as possible. Not to say you're not welcome to feel the way that you do, and there's no pressure on you to forgive, but I do think that forgiveness is a good thing. And you have the power, and it's ultimately up to you if you want to relinquish those feelings and, close that chapter in your life as best you can anyway, and whatever time frame is appropriate, obviously.
Yes.
I'm expecting you to be raped and then forgive the rapist in 60 seconds.
Yeah. Works. Yeah, all depends on the scenario, the scene. Yeah.
Right. But totally. I'm gonna bring this to a close. We went over by 5 minutes, but I'm gonna go ahead and post it, and tune in next Friday for another time.
Cool. All right.
All righty, take it easy.
Easy. Bye. Peace.